It is another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the 4 films released on June 12, 2009. Certainly not one of the stronger weeks of the summer, but a couple of good movies here and there that we'll get to. Let's start off with the biggest new release of the weekend. Denzel Washington and John Travolta starring in Tony Scott's remake of The Taking of Pelham 123. Of course, the story of this is that you have a train dispatcher played by Denzel Washington who is pressed into the role of a negotiator after a criminal played by John Travolta hijacks a subway car of passengers. This is actually the third adaptation of this book that this is based off of. Of course, everyone remembers the Walter Matthau, Robert Shaw film. There was also a 1998 movie starring Edward James Olmos. But this is written by Brian Helgeland and directed by Tony Scott, and it's definitely not one of their better movies, even though it's not a bad movie. I mean, anything with Denzel Washington, I've said it before, I'll say it again, he's always going to be something to watch in this movie. And yeah, in this movie, he's great. He's really good in the movie. John Travolta's really good, too, playing a really good antagonist in this film. I mean, he's going against the type of character that we used to see him in, and he plays it very well here. Everybody plays their parts very well. You have a cast that also includes John Turturro, Luis Guzman, James Gandolfini, Michael Rispoli. A really good cast overall. And Tony Scott brings that manic energy that he likes to bring to this type of a film. And it does deliver for the most part. Is it one of the better films that he's ever done? Not really, like I said. It has a lot of flaws to it, but never to the point where I would say it's a terrible movie by any means necessary. It's an overall enjoyable film. I enjoy it. Taking a Pelham 123, not much more to say about that one. With that said, let's go ahead and move on to the next movie we have here. Definitely one of the worst movies we have this week. Actually, it might be the worst. It's Eddie Murphy starring in the family comedy Imagine That. What do you mean you want bedtime stories? You don't want bedtime stories. I can make bedtime stories at home. Bedtime stories at home. I mean, it's literally that. Back when I did Hotel for Dogs, let's just say that I said that movie was kind of like Vapor. It just came and went. Imagine That is like Vapor too. Except the vapor also has flesh-eating bacteria because it comes and goes, but hurts you so much for just how stupid it is. It's basically the equivalent of a tapeworm, like it's eating you from inside. That's how bad this movie is. And no, I'm not kidding. This is so stupid that it physically hurts me to watch this movie again. That's how terrible this movie is. Imagine That tells the story of a relationship between a workaholic father, played by Murphy, and his daughter Olivia, who I did not know until recently was played by Yara Shahidi from Blackish. So that's kind of interesting to note. Her imaginary world becomes the solution to her father's success. And this was part of a string of really terrible Eddie Murphy comedies that were coming out between 2002 and 2012. And this was the time period that gave us such memorable classics such as The Haunted Mansion, Norbit, Meet Dave, 1,000 Words, and of course, The Adventures of Pluto Nash. Also, one thing of note, at the end of the last show, I said this was directed by Brian Robbins. It was not directed by him. This was directed by Kerry Kirkpatrick, who is a very prolific writer, and this is also written by Ed Solomon and Chris Matheson. So I guess this was not made by the same people who made Norbit or Meet Dave, but even he evened out the bad movies with stuff like Shrek and Dreamgirls and Tower Heist and I Spy, Showtime. But when Murphy attaches himself to bad movies like this, it just makes you want to smack your head against the wall and think to yourself, why are you wasting your comedic skills on this? Eddie Murphy is a hilarious guy. He's more than proven his worth as a comedic genius, but movies like this just make you scratch your head and go, why? Why did you pick this movie? I could understand if this was a script that might have had a hook to it, but no, it's pretty much a bad script that he attaches himself to. I mean, Daddy Day Camp was too much for him to return for, but movies like this, these are perfectly fine. I mean, the movie is just such a mess, and most of it comes from the story itself. Eddie Murphy's daughter's imagination can predict the future. I mean, how she can do that can happen, it's never really explained. It also doesn't help that the people Murphy works for have succumbed to stupid adult syndrome that you find in most bad kids movies like Blank Check. I mean, it's the perfect way to describe Imagine That. I mean, if you saw the Nostalgia Critic review, it's bland shit 101. I mean, that's really what the movie of the majority of the film is. It's just bland shit that doesn't work at all. Is there anything that gives this movie some credit? Well, I'll be honest, Eddie Murphy is not bad in here. He isn't doing his usual stick overall, and he has a good chemistry with his film daughter, Yara Shahidi, and again, she'd go on to star in Blackish, so these are two capable actors, and that's really all I got to say that's positive about it. Everything else, It's just bland. It's a bland movie, a lackluster premise, no twists or surprises, lackluster comedy. A talented cast wasted their potential on this. It just feels like no effort went into this whatsoever. They just needed something to shit out for the kids and pretend like there was and try to pretend that they were part of the competition in the summer of 2009. But bad news. Up came out the same year. Night at the Museum 2 came out the same year. You already lost before you even began. So that's more you can say about. That's all you can pretty much say about Imagine That. So let's get back to some good movies. Let's see what Sam Rockwell and Kevin Spacey are doing in space with Duncan Jones' Moon. The directorial debut for Duncan Jones, in particular, you have Sam Rockwell as a man who experiences a personal crisis as he nears the end of a 3-year solitary stint mining helium-3 on the far side of the moon. Kevin Spacey co-stars with a voice role in here. You also have Kayla Scoderio from The Maze Runner, Benedict Wong from Doctor Strange, Matt Berry from What We Do in the Shadows. Good cast overall in here. This is written by Nathan Parker, who would later go on to work on Birth of a Nation. I take that back. That's the wrong Nate Parker. This guy wrote stuff like he did the Underground Railroad for Amazon, but he also did Blitz, Equals, Slingshot. Not the same guy who made Birth of a Nation, but Duncan Jones went on to make one of my favorite movies from 2011, Source Code. So yeah, pretty solid director overall. This was the movie that kind of got him that job in particular. He's really good, solid at making a film like this, and Sam Rockwell gives a great performance in this film. And once again, Kevin Spacey. I mean, say what you will about his personal life, this guy is a damn good actor, and he shows it in this movie. You don't see him at all, you just hear his voice, and it's just like, yeah, I remember why this guy was so enjoyable to watch in these movies, because he was really giving it his all. It's a great movie. It's a really solid film, a really good, visually pleasing-looking film. Small-budgeted film, too. I mean, it was not a big budgeted movie in general for a first-time director. I mean, this is pretty impressive stuff all around, so yeah, Moon is a pretty amazing film. Same can't be said for our last film, though. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what Francis Ford Coppola is up to now with his latest film, Tetro. So on the week of his 18th birthday, Benny, played by Eldon Ehrenreich from Hail Caesar and Solo: A Star Wars Story, who's a waiter on a cruise ship, has a layover in Buenos Aires. He seeks out his older brother, Tetro, who he hadn't seen in years. Tetro, who lives with Miranda, is a burned-out case. He's hot and cold towards his brother, introduces him as a friend, refusing to talk about their family, telling Benny not to tell Miranda who their father is. Thoughts on their father cast a shadow over both brothers. Who is he? And what past has Tetro left behind? Benny finds pages of Tetro's unfinished novel, and he pushes both to own his own history and to become a part of his brother's life again. What can come of Benny's pushing? I might have over-exaggerated before when I said this was not a good movie. It's not a bad movie per se, but it's a film that is more style over substance. I think the style overall is excellent. I think the visuals are very impressive to look at. It's the story overall that really is the downfall of the film. The film overall, story-wise, isn't really that strong, despite some really good performances. Eldon Ehrenreich wanted to become a really damn good actor, and Vincent Gallo as Tetro is pretty solid overall in this. But other than that, though, it really is just a film that is just there to work because of the visual effects. I mean, the visuals look impressive, and the acting can be pretty solid overall, but the script overall is stuff we've seen done before. It's definitely not one of Francis Ford Coppola's better movies, but it's not a bad movie either, so mixed opinion on that one. That's Tetro. And so with all that said, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. Next time we meet, we'll take a look at the films of June 19th, 2009, including The Proposal, Ryan Reynolds and Sandra Bullock, and a pretty big year for her, starring in a romantic comedy directed by the director of Step Up. We have Michael Cera and Jack Black starring in Harold Ramis' last film as a director, Year One. Definitely not one of his better movies, unfortunately. But we also have Woody Allen directing Larry David in the comedy Whatever Works. And that one's not one of his better ones either. But we will talk about all three of those movies coming up on the next episode. So be on the lookout for that. With all that said, though, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please go ahead and hit that playlist on the next page. Check out the previous episode. Also, don't forget to hit the like button, the subscribe, notification, and the bell. You get updates on when videos will come out, and we do post new videos here every day. So with all that said, I am off. I'll see you guys next time, and until then, as always, take care.